Hey, beautiful people of the Sussex squad. Welcome back, my loves. This is your home for truth, receipts, and reality checks. Because over here, we tell it like it is. When it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, we're not about to sit quietly while the British tabloids twist facts, sell lies, and manufacture outrage to feed their anti-Sussex agenda. And this week, they are at it again. Now they're claiming that Harry and Meghan have targeted the entire royal family with what they're calling a spiteful act. Imagine that, calling Meghan spiteful for having her own monogram on her own notebook. You can't make this nonsense up. So let's get into it. The story comes from the same recycled sources: Express, Daily Mail, and their usual gossip circle. They're clutching their pearls because in a video for her new lifestyle brand, Meghan was seen at her desk with a notebook embossed with her royal cipher, a gold M topped with a coronet. The same elegant monogram she had since before her wedding in 2018. Now, I don't know about you, but how exactly is that an attack on the royal family? Since when did a monogram become an act of war? It's a symbol, her personal mark, something she's had for years. But the British press just can't stand that Meghan dares to still exist with grace and confidence outside their system. They can't handle the fact that she's not broken, not begging for their approval, and not fading into obscurity like they predicted. They want to paint her every move as calculated and malicious. But when other royal women use their ciphers, when Camilla and Kate plaster their monograms on everything from stationery to handbags, it's considered regal and refined. When Meghan does it, suddenly it's a spiteful act. The double standard is glaring and the hypocrisy is exhausting. The tabloids are obsessed with Meghan because she represents everything they can't control. She's a woman of her own making, a woman who turned her royal title into a tool for independence instead of submission. And that drives them mad. Now they also have a problem with her new candle, the Num 5119, which represents May 19th, her wedding day. They claim she's commercializing the monarchy because she connected the scent to one of her happiest memories, her wedding. But what's wrong with that? Isn't that what we all do? We celebrate our anniversaries, we light candles to remember important days. Meghan simply turned that love into a product that celebrates joy, peace, and nostalgia. But because her name is Meghan Markle, they have to twist it. They act like she's printing money off royal heritage, when in reality she's building something beautiful and meaningful on her own terms. The royal family sells tea sets, mugs, and Christmas ornaments with their faces on them, but they have the nerve to say Meghan's candle is commercializing royalty. Please. And of course, here comes Tom Bower again, the self-appointed Meghan critic who seems to write more about her than her actual publicists do. He called Harry and Meghan's old statement from 2020 set in Psalm spiteful, foul, and rude to the Queen. Remember that? Back when Harry and Meghan were transitioning out of royal duties, the palace decided they couldn't use the word royal in their branding, even though legally they could overseas. So Harry and Meghan released a clear, respectful statement saying they would stop using Sussex Royal out of respect for the Queen. They didn't lash out. They didn't insult anyone. They simply said, essentially, we could use it, but we won't. That's what grown, mature people do. Yet somehow the tabloids turned that into an act of rebellion. Bower said it was spiteful fury, and that it targeted every single royal, even the Queen. You know what that really was? it was projection. Because what they can't admit is that the Sussexes dared to take back their power. Let's tell the truth here. That statement wasn't rude. It was revolutionary. It was the moment Harry and Meghan said, "We're no longer playing your game." It was a declaration of independence, and the institution couldn't handle that. The royal system thrives on control, and when someone breaks free, they demonize them. Think about it. When other royals step back, like Prince Andrew or even Princess Beatrice working regular jobs, it's just adjusting to modern life. But when Harry and Meghan step back to protect their mental health and safety, suddenly it's betrayal. What Tom Bower and those other commentators can't admit is that Harry and Meghan's exit forced the monarchy to look in the mirror. Their decision revealed how outdated and hypocritical that system is. It exposed how much they rely on taxpayer money while pretending to be symbols of sacrifice. Because, let's be honest, who's really commercializing the monarchy here? Harry and Meghan, who live independently and earn their own money, or the senior royals, who live in multi-million-pound palaces funded by public money while selling the idea of service? Harry and Meghan didn't monetize the monarchy. They freed themselves from it. They created Archerwell. They built partnerships with Netflix and Spotify. They turned their platform into purpose, into storytelling, into activism. They are not cashing in. They are cashing out of a system that exploited them. But because that independence embarrasses the firm, they keep sending these so-called royal experts to throw shade. They try to twist every move the Sussexes make into a scandal. But what they're really mad about is that Harry and Meghan won. They walked away and are happier, wealthier and freer than ever. Let's not forget, when Harry spoke at that JP Morgan event in Miami, the tabloids lost their minds. They mocked him for talking about therapy, about losing his mother, about breaking the cycle of trauma. They called it a cash grab. But these same papers glorify the royals when they talk about mental health in scripted PR events. So, what's the difference? The difference is that Harry was honest. He wasn't performing for applause. He was speaking from pain, from truth, from healing. The so-called palace insiders were aghast, the biographers said. But what they were really aghast about is that Harry didn't ask permission. He didn't need their approval to tell his story. That's what bothers them. He's telling his truth without their filter. And Meghan, oh Meghan, they can't handle her glow-up. They can't stand that the woman they tried to destroy has built an empire. She's thriving, she's rebranding, she's reconnecting with her audience on her own terms. She doesn't need the British establishment, and they hate that. Every move she makes now, from her Archetypes podcast to her new lifestyle brand, reminds the world that she's unstoppable. And that's why they're dragging out these spiteful claims, because they've run out of new lies. They're recycling the old ones. Let's be honest. If Meghan and Harry had done what the palace wanted, kept quiet, smiled through the abuse and played their assigned roles, they'd be praised. But the moment they demanded fairness, the narrative flipped. These people still can't forgive Harry for protecting his wife and children. They can't accept that he chose love over tradition. But, as Harry said, it was about protecting his family, not betraying his birthright. You see, they never expected him to have a backbone. They thought he'd just go along with the programme. But Harry showed them that he's Diana's son, through and through, compassionate, bold, and unafraid to challenge a corrupt system. And now, 5 years later, everything they predicted has blown up in their faces. The Sussexes are doing better than ever. while the institution they left behind is crumbling under scandal, lawsuits, and a rapidly fading sense of relevance. So when they say Meghan's notebook is spiteful, or that her candle is commercializing royalty, what they're really saying is, how dare she still shine? How dare she continue to live her best life after all the abuse they tried to throw her way? But that's exactly what Meghan represents. Resilience. She represents every woman who refused to let a toxic environment destroy her light. Every person who left a bad situation rebuilt themselves and came back glowing. That's why the Sussex squad rides for her so hard, because we see her, we get it. And Harry? He's the living proof that love wins. He walked away from everything he knew to protect his family. He gave up the titles, the money, the privileges, and built something stronger. That's not spite, that's strength, that's integrity. You know, people always say Harry turned his back on his family. No, he turned his back on dysfunction. He turned his back on hypocrisy. And now he's walking forward, hand in hand with Meghan, building something new, raising two beautiful children who will grow up knowing peace instead of performance. So let the tabloids cry spiteful all they want. Let Tom Bower write his bitter little books. Let the Daily Mail keep obsessing. Because at the end of the day, the Sussexes are thriving while their critics are stuck in the same tired loop. What they call rude, we call real. What they call commercial, we call creative. And what they call rebellion, we call freedom. So keep shining, Meghan. Keep walking tall, Harry. Because truth doesn't need permission, and dignity doesn't need approval. And to my amazing Sussex Squad family listening right now, thank you for riding with me through another deep dive into the royal hypocrisy machine. Let's keep amplifying the truth, keep supporting the Sussexes, and keep calling out these media lies every single time they surface. If you loved this breakdown, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and drop a super thanks to support this channel. Your love, your comments, your energy, that's what keeps the truth alive. Remember, over here, we don't do palace propaganda. We do receipts, facts, and reality checks. So until next time, stay classy, stay loud, and stay Sussex strong. Because as we always say, love always wins.